Hello, assalamu alaikum. Regarding this recording is just for regarding the how you can configure the routers using a dynamic routing protocol. As you can see here, we have in this network 2 routers, 2 switches and 4 machines. And the dynamic routing protocol that have to be assigned is already we already also assigned the as you can see here, the serial port is added for the router 0 and router 1. If you go to the router 0, you will find that we already add the serial port, which is the WIC1T. Now also we do the same with the router 2. After that, the cables have to be established. So for example, to the connection between the machines and the switch have to be a straight cable, while and also between the switch and the router also have to be a straight cable, while and all of them is to connect between the fast Ethernet ports. While in the serial cable have to be connect between this serial within this 2 router, and this is why we add already a serial ports. Now after that, we have to make sure that all the ports inside the router is on, and we have to assign the clock rate. If we go here, for example, we will find that all the ports are the required ports are on. For example, I use already the fast Ethernet 00, it's on. I didn't use the 01, so it's off. I use the serial 00, so it's on. And because the serial 00 is attached to the DCE cable, this is why I assign the 64K clock rate to it. Of course, we can choose any another option, but I always prefer, or it's recommended to add the 64K. Now, how I can know that this is attached to a DCE is simply just put the mouse over the cable. You will get the clock sign. That means that this is the DCE. Now, after that, the IP addresses, as we can see here, the IP addresses is assigned, and the network ID is as shown right here. So the network ID, this one is referred to this network or this broadcast domain, while this one is going to be attached to this broadcast domain, and this one is going to attach to this broadcast domain, which means, for example, the port right here will have the IP address 192.168.1. anything, and for example, I assign it to be .1.1. Now everything is ready, but still we're going to have to assign the routing protocol. Now how I can do that? Simply, for example, I'm going to use the dynamic routing protocol. In the router, I go to the rep routing protocol. You will have to remember one important thing before starting, that when you are doing the dynamic routing protocol for any router, we are activating the attached network, the attached broadcast domains. So for example, in our case here, and when I do the activation, I have to add this network, and also I have to add this network. So the router will be able to send and receive the activation, the update packets with the neighbor networks, with the neighbor routers, so to build the routing table. So in our case, for example, if we going to see right here in the router 1 and the router 0, I'm going to add the networks, which is 192.168.12.0, and also I'm going to add the 1.0, and that's it. Once I do this, the router is going to be, router 0 is going to be able to send and receive the update packets regarding the routing table. It's going to communicate all over the networks and send and receive any updates regarding the routing table. Now, is that enough? Of course not. Why? Because we have also to activate the router 1. Now to do that, also we go to router 1, we go to the we have to know that we have to add the neighbor networks, which is this one and this one, which is this one and this one. Okay, now how I can do that? Simply I go to the configuration, to the rep. I'm in router 1. I have to add the neighbors, which is 168.12.0, and also I have to add the 2.0. Now the two routers are able to communicate, are able to send and receive the packets, and the communication is done all over all the network. So for example, the IP address of this machine is, as you can see here, 192.168.2.2. I can now ping it from here, ping 192.168.2.2. You see, the first time it's get to timeout, but it's okay because it's refreshing the table. Then we get replies, so the communication is done between all over the network. Now, to see the simulation mode, we have to do simply, we go to the simulation mode, we are doing the same again. Okay, you have to care about the filters, clear them all, enable only ICMP, DSCP and DNS. Okay, now you can see that the packet is created. It's going to be sent to the router, to the another router, to the switch, to the destination, and then we get the reply. And this is of course because it's an ICMP packet, it's a PIM packet, it's going to be repeated over and over again for 4 times. Thank you for listening, and hopefully it's going to be good for you.